Good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to the Iowa Speedway for round number 9 of 15 in the inaugural RoddCar Truck Tour Championship, continuing tonight on LSRTV and simulcast on iRacing Live. We're glad to have you with us on Live Sim Racing TV. As always, Evan Pasoko, Andy Kessler, and Josh Ball up in the LSRTV booth for you, and our executive producer Laura Lawson pushing the buttons and getting us going. Guys, we head to the Iowa Speedway. We just keep on blowing through this inaugural campaign, and I'll actually turn to you first, Josh, as a driver in this. This is still the inaugural tour of this truck tour. A extension, we'll call it, but standing in its own right in comparison to part 2 of our doubleheader tonight, the iSuperspeedway.com Racing Series. This is very quickly becoming the end of a season. After tonight, we'll go right into round number 10 and then just 6 races to go. So the championship picture that we've kind of been keeping a half eye on, now that is really the forefront of these races, and we have seen trends be a big part on this season as well. You look at your last 6 winners, and I can't get enough of this. Christian Peterson wins at Darlington, he goes on to win at Charlotte. Brandon Tuberko wins at Dover, he goes on to win at Michigan. Seth the Merchant won at Kentucky 2 weeks ago, he went on to win at Chicago in last week's race. Who's going to go the next 2?
That's a good question, Evan. We got a couple of good racetracks coming up here. We are at Iowa this week, and it should definitely be different. A lot of guys out there having a little bit of trouble with this racetrack, so should be a little different to see when everybody comes in. Currently, Seth the Merchant and Christian Peterson on the 1-2 qualifying right now, so I'd look to see one of them possibly taking the win away tonight. They're definitely the fastest of the field by almost a tenth. So, right now I'm picks on Seth, but we'll see what the night progresses. Tires are definitely an issue as we've seen the last couple weeks. 2 tires, 4 tires. So we'll see who comes out with the best strategy.
With a 5-minute open qualifier session, as always, has drawn to a close. Andy, let's take a look at our LSRTV starting grid for the Iowa 1 of 50. 2 drivers on the front row break the 22.4. It's a 22.469 for Seth the Merchant's number 42 Chevrolet. He'll get the pole position. Christian Peterson, who as well was second fastest in practice, drops down below a 22.5, cracks it with a 22.472. Blistering fast lap times, almost half of a tenth of a second quicker than the best time they saw in all of the practice session. Gonna put those 2 names on top of your qualifying speeds. New cover to the series this week, the JDR Graphics Chevy of Logan Clampett, third fastest in practice. He'll as well find himself third on the grid. Josh Hanner then rolls the 24 off from 4th, and in 5th spot it's the 7 of Rodney Wofford.
And our in-race reporter here tonight, the 43 truck, is Stephanie Lessentine. She's going to roll off 6th. Inside of row number 4 is that point leader by 22 points right now is the 23 is Rod Flagg. He's starting 7th. 8th will be the 57 of Jared Haggerty. Mark Jorgensen Jr. in that 88 truck's going to roll off 9th. And the 89 of Matt Quick is start 10th.
James Fleske starts 11th, Ryan Pilon 12th, Ramon Evans and Glenn Hedrick round out your top 14. Those are the people that took times. 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, and 19th are Rittenauer, Ferguson, Shea McKeechin, Kent Connolly, and Chris Bassini, and they did not take times during that qualifying.
So 19 trucks on the starting grid, and it appears that all of them have hit the grid, so they all get set to roll. The pace car just now exits the pit lane. Let's take a look at what these guys are going to have to deal with on the evening from the Iowa Speedway. This racetrack located in Newton, Iowa, 7/8 of a mile in distance, so 4 turns, and Andy, progressive banking, 12 degrees on the bottom, 14 degrees topside. If you're talking about trucks, it's a love-hate relationship with this Iowa Speedway. I love trucks at this track. I know a lot of guys don't feel the same way, though, and it could be a challenging night the way you have to drive this facility.
Yeah, you're going to see it turn 1 and 2. The bottom line, maybe a groove up from the bottom is going to be the place to be. There are bumps in the corner, though, so these guys got to be careful. And typically, that high line in 3 and 4 is the place to be for speed.
Two pace laps here as these guys get set to roll off. And again, the top 14 with qualifying times in this one. So we get the one to go this time through. DeMerchant, Peterson up top. Logan Clampett, though, coming into this race, Josh, not a regular driver here on Friday nights, but most of these guys know who he is. What's the 44 got to do to maybe earn the respect of his fellow competitors, but as well come out with a bang at the same time without running anybody over?
Obviously, just like you said, everybody knows his name here in the RoddCar Truck Tour. So, I foresee him running a pretty good race. It's really up to what his setup's able to do. We got people here week in and week out. Christian Peterson, Seth the Merchant have great setups. So, it's really just see what he's brought. He's a great racer. So we'll just have to see at the end of the night who's able to take it away.
Well, we're glad to have you with us again on LSRTV and through iRacing Live tonight. This open setup Truck Tour Championship. Now, in the second half of the championship, we get set to do battle another time on Friday evening. The pace car gets down to the way. Seth the Merchant, your control truck. Green flag flies, and we are underway from the Iowa Speedway. And Clampett not wasting any time. Right on back bumper, the 42 with the Merchant, pushing him down to turn one for the first time. There's those bumps, though, Andy. The 42 with the bobble. Top side for the P-Money Design Chevy of Christian Peterson. Not enough to get clear, but he's half a truck length to the advantage all the way up to the wall. Turns 3 and 4. A lot higher line than you saw in 1 and 2.
Yeah, definitely a higher line, and you can see the momentum carry Peterson off the corner. He's actually going to lead that lap, not by much right now. Here comes the 44 at Clamp, and looking to make it 3 wide. Joe's better this time by off of turn number 2, but he's going to do battle now with the 42 of Seth the Merchant. He's on the bottom side. He's getting that advantage on the entry of the corner, but you can see these guys on that high line, they have the advantage on the top side. So we'll see how that plays out here as the night goes on. But Seth the Merchant trying to hang on to that lead, but Peterson will have nothing to do with that off of turn number 2.
And quite opposite to what you normally see, which is everybody on the bottom and the guy top side being left out to dry, even those that are single file now, as Christian Peterson will drop down from the top side of the racetrack and take over the race lead after completing lap number 3. It's the opposite here. It's now Seth the Merchant who's the odd man out. Josh, but he's on the bottom. Everybody else, the 24 of Josh Hanner, he's up there top side, the number 43 of Stephanie Lessentine up a spot for the start of the race as well.
Around. Yeah, we just saw Mark Jorgensen take a little spin off there of turn 2. Unfortunately, I think he was just down on the bottom of the track and got loose. Didn't look like there was any contact when I saw it, but that bottom section of the track right now with all those bumps, a lot of guys aren't really set up for that. So just a little spin off of turn 2 brings out the first caution of the night.
Yeah, it was that self-spin in the quarter, and we saw how big of an effect it had on Seth the Merchant on the opening lap of this race, Andy. Sometimes, if your truck is tight, you can almost use those bumps to turn that truck for you. If the truck is anything loose, as you take a look at that once again on the LSRTV replay, you take a look at that. If that truck is loose and that back end kind of bounces up and doesn't stay planted, it starts to skip up and up the track and it'll spin out just like we saw there with the Tracker Boat Chevy Mark Jorgensen Jr. He'll spin out from the number 8 spot, take the virtual toe to the pit lane, and just like that, his night is done. After an early race incident, he'll have to settle for a 19th place result out of the 19 trucks that started this one. Race leaders all staying out. A couple of guys come down pit road. First driver in for service, actually going to be that number 44 Chevy of Logan Clampett.
Yeah, of all the top front runners anyway, the top 6 guys, he's the only one that came down. Everyone else chose for the track position at this time. So tires do come in pretty handy here at this track. They do get worn out rather quickly. It all depends obviously on your setup also, but track position at the moment, these guys are not, or what the front runners want. They don't want to be caught back in the middle of all the hornet's nest, as we like to call it. So maybe a wise move, maybe not. We'll have to see as this plays out for the 44 truck to see if he's going to be able to work his way up through traffic or if he's actually going to end up stuck back there.
As always, Josh, these drivers have to be prepared in this series that there is that 65-minute time limit start to finish in this one. You look at the Iowa Speedway, these guys running lap times in about 22 seconds or so through qualifications. In the race, though, currently at a total of 107 laps tonight, so a little bit longer than what we saw at Chicago as far as lap terms. Obviously, Chicago a little bit of a better racetrack, but the same scenario, and I think it's very unique how all these races have been scheduled, where you get 4 or 5 cautions at any race on the schedule. That puts you right on the time limit as well. So, as much as you want to ignore that, and the higher percentage of these events this season have been determined based on the lap coming to an end, and we get the checkered flag as opposed to time being a factor, you can't really prepare for it, but if you are one of those guys that actually has somebody up on the spotter stand for you as opposed to the iRacing virtual spotter that the sim provides in-game for you, it is something that some of these guys need to keep it on, and I would have to imagine that the bigger teams would have an advantage over some of the single or two-car operations just because of the fact that they'd be able to communicate better.
Yeah, definitely. And, Logan Clampett there, I like his strategy going in the pits. We're 7 laps in. Unfortunately, if he would have got stuck back in 17th, it might not have been the greatest of moves. But since he was able to go in third, come out top 6 right now, I think getting those 4 fresh tires, even on just 5 laps of green flag, are probably going to help him out a lot. Usually use up a lot of your tires going through the field. But, it's a good strategy on his part. I'm not sure if he's got somebody up in the booth, spotting him tonight, but it was a good idea to bring him down early, just like you said, if a couple of the bigger teams have a couple different ideas of what to do.
So we haven't really seen a long green flag stretch yet to see what kind of speed Clampett's machine really does have. It's not going to hurt him all that much, though. He comes down for service. He'll be out on the outside of row number 3 and 6. Everybody in front of him still with the same set of Goodyear Wranglers that they started this race off with. The pace car going to get down and away. This time it's Christian Peterson down low, which is the place that he passed Seth the Merchant on when he went topside. He'll be on the unpreferred lane to turn 1 as the green flag flies and we go back underway. Peterson, if he wants to be able to hang on, he's got to get clear. He'll do so and retain the race lead down to turns 1 and 2. Look at the 57, Jared Haggerty. Talk about making your way up topside. Slides up on quarter exit. Becomes that 4th truck in line up high, and that's the preferred lane now. What a move.
Yeah, I think he had a little help by the bumps there in the corner. It looked like he hit him just right, kind of pushed his truck up in front of the 43 of Stephanie Lessentine right now, but watching that 44 truck, Logan Clampett right now, he's already made his way up to 3rd now, so those good brand new tires right now are definitely helping that 44 truck out. He's already back up to 3rd where he was when he came into the pit stop, so we'll see if he can have anything for these top 2 guys right now as they come down and head back into turn number 1. It looks like the 24 a little bobbled for Hanner off of turn 4.
Yeah, Hanner was in a spot where if you're at any other track, he had a run at a 4, he could have gone to the inside, but he elected to not do so, actually slid back to the top side, but just like that, Logan Clampett goes from 6th to 3rd to number 44, now right back where he was, plus now the small advantage of tires. These guys are going to be keeping an eye on what that JDR graphics machine can do for future reference if we see another scenario like this later on. The top 3, though, single file for the moment, and now DeMerchant going to go to the bottom side. You're not getting top side because Peterson, right side of that truck, all the way up against the fence. Seth has to take the unpreferred lane to the bottom, try to pull a slide job at a 4, can't quite get there. He'll squeeze Peterson high at the stripe, the 42 small lead.
Yeah, still side by side down at turn 1. I think right now Seth the Merchant is a little bit faster than Peterson. Let's see if he can get it done off of 2. Nope, not going to be clear. A little bobble by Peterson. Clampett's all the way back in. Josh Harris side by side with a 44 now off of into turn 3.
And that bottom is going to be open all night long unless you're single file. Seth going to slide up again. He's almost trying that slide job. Can't do it. Clamp it now to the inside of the racetrack. It is 3 wide for your race lead at lap number 14. You have to think Peterson going to have the advantage in all of this, though. He's sideways off the corner, and he'll hang on, dropping those 2-3 spots. Now it's DeMerchant trying to hold off Clampett, and now that puts that Chevy DeMerchant, though, preferred side. He should be able to get it. Turn 4, the place he does. Back to the race lead. The 24 machine now of Josh Hanner slides into 2nd, and it's the 44 of Clampett now in 3rd.
Yeah, Clampett was trying to get that move. That just shows you that bottom side right now. Even with fresh tires, that bottom lane through 3 and 4 is not where you want to be. You're not going to get the speed. The truck actually kind of bogs down there coming up off the corner, so you lose a lot of momentum. It's a small track, but that momentum is huge when you come to speed up through these corners here. So the 44 truck trying to do something with it now. Hanner, though, back to the bottom side. He's going to try to get it up from Seth the Merchant. He's going to have a tough time here through 3 and 4. He holds it up into that 2nd lane right now, but look at that power off the corner. The 42, here he comes right now, DeMerchant. He's got a little bit of help, maybe a little bit of push from Clampett back into 1.
So Seth the Merchant ends up in a race lead. Josh making the pass on the bottom, but when he actually got around, he was topside. He ended up topside after you saw Clampett make it 3 wide. So here's Christian Peterson to the bottom of the racetrack. The 3 guys in front of him are leaving that bottom wide open, but the 71 loose again off the corner. You can take that every single lap, but it's not working. These guys really have any chance to try to go high side. The more they fight, Stephanie Lessentine now into the picture, so the top 5 within half a second of each other, but you want to be up top. You're not getting runs off the corner. They're riding the outside wall all the way to quarter entry. It's very difficult for somebody to go topside. Is it worth it if you're a guy like Peterson right here? Again, he's doing it to the bottom. He's done it 3-4 times, but he hasn't even gotten close on making a pass on one of them.
Well, yeah, it's really how it depends on how your truck's set up. I like Seth's truck so far, how he's been able to be moved back and forth. A little bit loose off a turn, too, right there, but, you know, I've been able to see Seth on the bottom tonight. He was, you know, he almost was able to hold the lead through the first couple laps of the race on the bottom. There's a lot more bumps down there. Up top is a lot smoother, so that's a factor. Plus, also, what is your truck set up for? It's set up for the long runs or short ones. You know, over the past couple weeks, we saw Wicked Motorsports go for the short runs, and it's paid off with Seth the Merchant winning back-to-back. Now, you know, Hanrick has gone the other way, whereas Josh Hanner, Mark Jorgensen have gone for the longer runs. So it'll be interesting to see. Everybody's right here right now. You got Stephanie Lessentine and Christian Peterson also up there with them. You know, it's just going to depend on who's able, I guess, to save the most on their tires tonight. Because those dive bombs are definitely, everybody seems to be trying it, but not many passes happening so far.
Well, I know we're at a shorter track, Andy, but we're not at a short track. I mean, the move that Seth was trying to put on when it was that 71 of Peterson up top, basically a slide job came up, and one of the times wasn't close. The other time he cut it very close, and 71 managed to force his way back to the outside and keep that fight going. 42 going to get real tight, though, that time off, and you can forget about that one. Clamp it to the inside of the racetrack, through and clear. He gets the pass done, and Seth doing the same thing. Tries to drive it in hard on the bottom, but you see it there with the 71. You go topside, you always are going to slide way up to the wall on corner exit. Now, it was a little bit of a close call when we saw it so far. If they start doing that later on in the race, if we see guys fight like they are right now later on, those slide jobs might get a little bit more nasty. And contact right there, actually, to Merchant. Hit in the back end by the 24 of Josh Hanner. That car still sideways, and he will lose it in turn number 4. Spins it out, look out, they go high, they go low. Nobody else gets into him, and the caution flag is out.
Yeah, that was a great. that was some drift work right there. You almost thought he was on a dirt track right there, dirt track at around 3 and 4. Did a great job. I thought he was going to be able to hang on to it, but just wasn't quite able to. And truck went around, and we end up in our second caution here tonight. But we got to watch that. As I think pit road's open this time, but that 44 truck, those tires definitely made a difference. They got him the win, or got him the front position. Now he gets to go on pit road as the leader, and we'll see how they do it. But I highly doubt you're going to see anyone do a 2-tire stop here tonight unless they've only run a couple laps. But you should see everybody getting 4 tires this time around.
Yeah, that 44 made the pass on the number 71 Christian Peterson. Peterson was up there, but it was Seth the Merchant who had began to fall back on the longer end of that green flag run. Truck started to go away. Let's see if those drivers make any adjustments as they come down and hit the pit lane. 44, the first driver in. He's got pit stall number 3. Right side tires go up, left side tires. It's going to be a full service stop for Logan Clampett. Race off of the pit lane. He'll win it no problem. The driver that will exit in second is Peterson. Third driver off is Josh Hanner, followed by Stephanie Lessentine, Haggerty, McKeechy, and Wofford through the top 8. So no changes there. However, Rod Flag stays out. Gets the bonus point for leading a lap. I would imagine that he'll be coming down pit road this next time by. You'll take a look at the replay, though, of Seth the Merchant as Flag does hit the pit lane. It'll drop him to the back of the lead lap. Take a look at this one, Josh. If he saves that, that's the best save you're ever going to see on the sim. And although it went around, I still call it a save because for most people, that car either spins around in front of the pack or he overcorrects and puts it in the fence. He held on long to it enough for those guys behind him to catch notice and slow down, and that way he doesn't get clobbered. All he needs is 4 fresh tires. He's still in it.
Yeah, that was a great save. We see Seth the Merchant makes a lot of saves every week, and that was definitely one of them. If he would able to, not cause the caution I don't even know. He probably wouldn't have had any tires. He would have spun out the next corner. But, yeah, unfortunately, it looked like Josh Hanna was just on the back of him going all the way into turn 3 and maybe lifted up that rear deck lid a little bit, caused all the air to come off the back end and just spun him around. I don't think the 24 was intentionally doing it because it didn't seem like there was too much blocking, or, we're pretty still early in the race, lap 24, when that incident occurred. So, just hard racing out there. Good save by Seth the Merchant. I thought it was definitely going to involve at least 2 or 3 trucks. So great job by him driving and able to keep everybody clean and just get some new fresh tires out there for everybody.
When we talk about this championship at Indy, this series always seems to be a thing of trends. We've said that the last 6 races have been won by 3 different drivers. They've each gone back-to-back in the respective amounts, but it was a couple of seasons ago in the iSuperspeedway.com Racing Series where we saw the runner-up to the championship go on to win the title the following season. That happened for 3 different seasons, so you can say the numbers don't lie. They are certainly always interesting to take a look at on Friday nights, but you say DeMerchant, Traburco, Peterson, those are the 3 guys that have won back-to-back races. None of them are sitting right now inside of the top 3 in points. Those drivers are Rod Flagg, Ray Rittenauer, and Joshua Hanner. Rod Flagg staying out there. He drops back to 16th for this restart. But that bonus point, those are the little things that are giving him, Rittenauer and company, the advantages, and that's why they're sitting in the top 3, all of them with no trips to victory lane.
Yeah, we talked about earlier who's going to go to victory lane. I think that 23 trucks of Rod Flagg's due for a win here. He's been running a great season, been very consistent. End of the race, where do you see him? You always see him up in the top 5, top 10. So he's getting it done points-wise. Some very smart racing by him. Had an unfortunate deal last week. Had a very poor finish, his worst of the season. However, they do get 3 drop weeks anyway, so he can count that as one. But the way he's been going, it's gonna be tough when one of his weeks that he drops is gonna be a 10th place finish or something like that.
The lights go on for the pace car, and we line them back up for a restart this time as we work under the caution at lap number 28. We'll go back green right on the money with 80 laps to go. In this event, it's going to be Clampett in the lead spot. Peterson, Hanner, Lessentine, and Haggerty inside of the top 5 right now. 16 of the 19 that started are still on the lead lap. Glenn Hedrick is 7 laps down. His night is done. Ryan Pilen is out of the race, as well as Mark Jorgensen Jr. Pace car going to get down and out of the way now. The 44 in the control car position on the bottom. Have to wait till they exit that restart box. The green flag will drop from the sim, and back and away we go. Inside the advantage as the 44. Very quick to get to the accelerator. Not a bad restart by Peterson, but not going to be good enough to stick topside. 44 is clear for the race lead. That's a big advantage.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting going down here. The high side's been the best groove. It looks like everybody's going back up to the top, just as we said. But Peterson going for the lead on the bottom here off of turn 4. Flies up. Almost into him off of turn 4 there. Josh Hanner dives to the bottom. Looks like he'll be able to take the position off of turn 2, possibly.
The 71, he goes to the bottom, and that truck always comes up the hill, and if you're Logan Clampett, it took a lot to just not get out of the gas there, and that one cutting it close. It slows the 71 down. Josh Hanner now going to try the same thing to the bottom. Doesn't go quite as low, though. He'll make the pass and forward.
Yeah, made a great move right there by Josh Hanner. Get that second spot right now. Peterson just trying to collect things up a little bit. Maybe he got the tires a little bit hot off that last corner there, but he's going to get right back into this. But that 44 truck, Logan Clampett, he's definitely got a good set under him right now, and he's running that preferred lineup on the high side. As we see, just behind him right now, Peterson again trying to go to the bottom side, not going to work. Look at all that momentum he's losing. Here comes the 43 of Lessentine. She's looking for third spot.
To the bottom, and you can see that GoPro machine bounce up and down over the bumps in the corner, slows some of the momentum. However, going to be able to get clear for the number 43, and up to now it's going to be the 3rd spot on track for Stephanie Lessentine, who started this race back in 6th, and just behind her, Jared Haggerty, number 57, a Power Rangers machine, continuing the charge to the field as well. He's been lockstone and tap with that number 43 machine all night long as well. He started 8th, Josh, and is up to 5th right now.
Got trouble. A little trouble for Logan Clampett there, side by side with Hanner off a turn, or into turn 4 right now. It looked like Clampett got really, really loose coming off of turn 2 and lost almost a whole half a second
into the fence
to Hanner. Yeah, he was basically into the fence, a little bit of damage on the right side, it looks like right now, and I thought he was wrecking there for a second, but it looks like everybody's a little bit loose. Christian Peterson as well, too, as you can see the replay going up now.
And he catches the fence and he kind of gets stuck in it all the way down the back straightaway. Good news is the damage is not that bad, and he was actually able to get back in front of Josh Hanner, and by doing so is able to retain the race lead right now up in the front of the field. But again, it is no surprise that where that happened, it was down the back straightaway. Where did that truck start to go up the hill? Right out of the bumps in the middle of 1 and 2. Just to think that at the actual Iowa Speedway, they're worse than that because they get worse over time. So a lot of these guys, they don't want this track to be repaved because they're brutal enough as it is as of the time they scanned this place, and you could just visibly see those cars bounce up and down over the corners, which is why it makes things so exciting. Check out some of the wheel movement on these drivers off of the turn. Seesawing to keep those things in fair play for that matter. All of them going right up against the safer barrier, though, every single time.
Yeah, you're cutting it close. I mean, that's what you have to do to get your speed. You got to ride it all the way up to the wall off of these corners. Like we said, that line through 1 and 2, you can be real low on the yellow line and miss the bump, or you can be that second groove up. Oh, we got caution on the speedway.
Trouble, it's going to be behind your race leaders. It's championship leader Rod Flagg, the number 23 Silverado. Turned around the wrong direction in turn number 2. And as we take a look at that one, for the driver that was at time running in 11th spot, he'll claim responsibility for the yellow. It is a single car incident that slows us down at lap number 37. You'll take a look at the replay at the moment. Right now, he gets that car back going the right direction. No harm, no foul on the number 23 Chevrolet. Gets back out there. He'll lose some time in the end of it all. But with that, another swing of pit stops, and under the caution, we'll take the opportunity to step away for another moment here at the Iowa Speedway. Right back for the restart. You're watching the RoddCar Truck Tour on LSRTV and iRacing Live.
Trucking has always been a part of me. It started years ago when my dad and granddad were hauling vegetables to market in Liverpool. The family immigrated to Canada in the late 60s and settled near Alliston, Ontario. I bought my first truck in 1982 and Mercer Trucking was born. Today, Mercer Trucking has over 50 trucks in terminals in Toronto and Los Angeles. Our storage facilities at both terminals can handle any size of distribution needs throughout North America. We service the continental U.S., including Hawaii and Alaska. We run over 120,000 miles per month and some of the best equipment on the road today. We specialize in less than truckload shipments, show freight, we do rush team service deliveries, and haul your refrigerated or heated product. Our regular team service from Canada to California is second to none, and our staff and drivers are among.
Once its sights are set, nothing can stop the ferocious lion from capturing its prey. Relying on keen senses, lions search patiently before striking with alarming speed. Wait for it. Gotcha, Mr. Piece of Rubbish. He is truly the master of his environment. Do good, be a lion.
We're back live, and the number 44 of Logan Clampett comes down to the pit lane for the second time under this caution flag, and he'll go back out, guys. The JDR Graphic Chevy leading the race at the moment. When we went away, came down pit road, got service, stayed a little bit longer, and lost a couple of spots, came down to complete whatever service that was. It could very well have been some damage repairs after that truck was just in the fence. Nonetheless, he finds himself going from the top spot all the way back to 16th and the last driver on the lead lap. Quite a change.
That's a big change right there. He's coming down pit road again now, again for the third time. So definitely getting some damage repaired on that right side. I don't think it was really hurting his truck as far as speed-wise. I think he knows he has a fast truck, so that's probably why he's coming down pit road now. Just get it out of the way, get this thing fixed up as much as he can, make a couple little small adjustments probably to some tire pressure or things like that. But overall, he knows he's got a fast truck. It's not a huge field tonight, so it's not a major ordeal for him to come down pit road at this time. But that was a quick one. Maybe a little splash and go for him. Maybe trying to see if he can ride this thing out if this goes green all the way, trying to make it to the end possibly.
Yeah, to come down and top off right before the drop of the green flag could lead to definitely a fuel strategy mentality. As we get set for a restart, we quickly approach the halfway point in this race, just about 10 laps away and change away from that. However, this time, it'll be Shane McEachin's turn at the front of the field. The Havoline Toyota under that caution flag electing to stay out. He's your race leader up top as the pace car gets down and out of the way. Green flag flies and back and away we go. Brought him down very, very slowly though, Josh. A lot of tire spin. It looks like back on row 3. Hanner still sticks up on the outside, and that's pretty much a death wish if you're on the bottom. Goodbye, new race leader.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm not sure if Shane took 2 tires there or not, trying to maybe play the strategy, but he wasn't up in the front couple of top 5 there before the pits, but it's definitely getting dicey right back there right now. Battle for second. Shane McEachin, Jared Haggerty, Seth the Merchant, Stephanie Lesnick, all right there and under a blanket, just battling for the lead as Josh Hanner takes off.
And if the race leader on the bottom can get clear to turn 1, Andy, they've got no problem. But if you're Shane McEachin, you didn't come down pit road, you can't get clear to turn 1, and there's really not a whole lot of hope. We saw the 43 Lessentine. She tried to get topside on him right away in turn 1, wasn't able to do so. Now actually McEachin in the fence a little bit at a 4. That makes the next battle on track up for second at the moment. Seth the Merchant inside the unpreferred lane trying to get it, and Jared Haggerty topside, one of the fastest trucks all night long from 8th to 3rd, trying to get second. He's in the preferred lane on the top side, but at 42, he's been stubborn down low, and you see he's making sure the 57 doesn't get any more real estate between him and that outside wall than he needs to.
Yeah, he's doing everything he can to try to pitch from the high side. It looks like Haggerty here, he's going around the 57 now, self-spin in turn number 2, so pushing the issue maybe a little bit too much there in the 57 of Jared Haggerty. He goes around for a spin.
The Borla exhaust number 83, Ramon Evans, will be collected in this one. And again, just said that 57, one of the fastest trucks all night. And Josh, the bumps are a lot worse on the bottom of the track than they are up top. But Haggerty in the middle lane of the track, I'm watching his onboard. It looks like he really committed to that full turn in just a little bit late. He saw Seth starting to take off, so the 42 hooked up good on those bumps. Got to the gas a little bit too soon, and when you give it all the gas and that car still turns sideways, there's not a whole lot you can do. Stephanie Lessentine going to get into the driver's side door of the 57. I don't think it is going to be that bad of damage at all on the number 43. The same thing can't be said, though, for Evans, caught up as an innocent victim.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of people coming down pit road right here, take another 4 fresh tires. Why not? We've been only under the green a couple laps, but they are definitely meaning something. Well, as you were pointing out, yeah, Stephen Lestine got a little bit of front-end damage. Shane McEachin also caught that. Got some damage on the front of his truck. Unfortunately, Ramon Evans as well. Jared Haggerty had to take an automatic tow. Is in the pits. He'll get that quick repair and hopefully get back out there. But everybody else coming in, getting some 4 fresh Goodyears. Looks like Josh Hanner and Rodney Wofford were the ones that stayed out there. I'm not sure if that's going to be the greatest strategy, but we'll see once we get back going green if they can hold up there to the front.
In the cycle of pit road services this time by, not as linear as what we had seen all night long. First driver off of the pit lane, it's Seth the Merchant, the number 42. No surprise that he goes with 4 tires. He's been quick all night long. Why not change anything. However, Rod Flag stayed out to get that bonus point, guys, but all the way back in the back was caught up in an accident. He takes 2 tires. That's going to advance him quite some. However, Josh Hanner and Rodney Wofford out on the racetrack, as well as James Pileski. 3 drivers staying out after what was a very small caution flag, or rather green flag run that time through in between cautions.
Yeah, it was a short one, but we saw from the first, maybe these guys were taking notes from that first caution. We only had 5 green flag laps on the track. The 44, Logan Clampett, actually came down, got tires, and ended up back in the lead within about 5 to 7 laps. So some of these guys, like Seth the Merchant, probably said, hey, now's the time. I'll come in. It worked for the 44. It's got to work for me. Maybe I can have this lead here soon.
We haven't talked a whole lot about Pileski. However, he has been pretty much a top 10 car all night long. Started in 11th position, so we'll have to see how good that machine runs as he'll find himself on the inside of row number 2 for this next restart. We've seen Hanner. We've seen Wofford. Wofford has actually been kind of quiet as far as being right up in the fights for the top 5, top 6, which is where a majority of the action has been so far. So those 2 we kind of know. Pileski will be fun to see. Rod Flag up front, we haven't really talked a whole lot about Rod Flag. He's another one of the guys kind of in the same boat as James, where they've been having strong runs, but they're being quiet. That's the big thing that Rod Flag does. You take a look at the championship standings, Josh, as a driver. Sometimes, if you're a Seth the Merchant, you like to have all the flair to it. The thing you can relate that to would be Brandon Chaburko in the iSuperspeedway.com Racing Series, as far as going in there aggressive every single lap. Well, you get a penalty point if you make a mistake, and Rod Flag has 0 compared to, the guys that have wins, like Peterson, who's been as well given 0, but other guys, you got like Corey Henry, 20 points, like Ryan Pilon, 10 penalty points. Not necessarily from guys driving over their head, but when you are aggressive, it happens. You can't make every single turn 3-4 wide, albeit that's the approach that these guys more like to take. For a guy like Rod Flag and Pileski kind of mimicking that strategy here tonight, sometimes not getting talked about a lot on the broadcast isn't that bad. We don't talk about Ray Rittenauer all night long, and he's only 22 points out of the top spot in the championship in second.
Yeah, exactly. And unlike the iSuperspeedway, which you'll see on later tonight, there's no chase format here. So, you're going out there each week in, week out, getting the most points you can. That's why you saw Rod Flag take that, stayed out there. That first caution got that extra bonus point. He's 22 points ahead right now. That's a lot. That's, if you start last tonight, you're going to get, I think 19 points. So, between first and last tonight, even if Rod Flag didn't run, or just wrecked out to begin with, he would still be fine. So he's got a big lead, Like you said, Rittenauer, we haven't seen Josh Hanner win a race yet this year. He's in the lead right now, but he's 23 points out of the lead. And, he's just been consistent. So we'll get ready to see what he can do on this restart right here, starting P1.
They tighten him back up. It's going to be halfway home in just 2 laps from now. The 24 car. Objective, get clear down to turn 1. Green flag flies and back and away we go. Lap 52 now in the works at the Iowa Speedway. The 24 gets to turn 1. Needs to get clear on Wofford. He's got it. That means that he'll have the race lead down the back. Meanwhile, James Pileski really, really tight, slides high. How about the top 5 single file? Down the back straightaway. Peterson knows that those guys on no tires are going to be slower. The 71 on the bottom, just as Seth the Merchant shoots the middle. It's Clampett 3 wide behind them. The 4 tires not wasting any time trying to make that ground back up.
Yeah, we got a couple of, we got Pileski around now in turn number 2. He's going around the 93 truck. No caution yet. He was able to hang on to it.
How, I don't know, but he was sideways for about 10 seconds, and Lessentine passed them all on the apron.
Yeah, that was a say. I was almost Seth the Merchant like earlier in the race. The problem was he was able to get it going back straight, so good job by him. We stay green, but a lot of great battles up here at the front. You can see what the older tires are not doing for these guys, not keeping them up to the front here. Wofford now, he's got his mirror full of the 44 truck. Clampett now going to look to the inside. He's got Peterson giving him a little shove on the bumper, and we got a battle for the lead just ahead of these guys into 1.
And just as they go side by side, caution flag flies. It's trouble behind them. Ray Rittenauer, the second involved, as well as Ramon Evans. 2 drivers tangled up at a turn number 4. will bring things to a slow yet again. This one comes, though, from a single car accident. It looks like Ramon Evans just broke loose. He got nailed by Matt Quick, and it was Ray Rittenauer, second place in the championship, spins trying to avoid it, still makes contact and brings some back-end damage to the Cartoon Network Chevrolet as well. Caution flag comes out. You take a look at the replay, and in all of that, Seth the Merchant may have tried one of those slide jobs, but he didn't do it in time. Josh Hanner scored as your race leader for this caution flag.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, Evan, two laps is what I meant to say. 2 laps on green flag before that last caution flag. And the 42 was running down the 24 like he had no tires. So, 2 laps of green flag and those 4 tires already meaning that much, that's crazy. But now, as you see, the 42 stays out, 71 stays out, 44 stays out. Looks like everybody else is coming down pit road to get some more Goodyear tires. But, from what we just saw, I don't know why those guys stayed out just 2 laps on green flag, and 24 was class of the field so far tonight, and he was just getting run down like nothing.
It's going to be a role reversal here because now Seth the Merchant, Logan Clampett, those guys, and Peterson as well, who we saw hooked up on the yellow line, which has really been no man's territory all night long. They hooked up and took off in those 1-2 laps off of the restart. The guys that they were leaving in the dust, the guys that stayed out, now going to come down pit road this time by. So it's going to be an exact reversal of what we saw on that last restart. And it'll be interesting to see if it really is the tires making that huge difference, or was it just some of the quicker guys that had stayed out. The 24, Josh Hanner, he's the first guy off of the pit lane. Everybody that comes down, coming down to take the advantage of 4 tires and fuel. They get back out there on the racetrack, and it looks like Hanner, first guy off, is going to be in 4th. So exactly what we saw last time, guys. This time, though, it's DeMerchant, Clampett, and Peterson, the ones that stay out.
Yeah, that's exactly what we saw even at the beginning of the race, too. A bunch of guys staying out, and the 44 was able to make up all that ground on a little bit of tire. So now Hanner, I believe, is in the catbird seat here with the fresh tires. Going to restart 4th on that outside lane, too. So the advantage definitely his. The only thing he's going to have to see is how fast that 44 can get off the line.
15 guys on the lead lap at the moment. It's Raymond Evans in the number 83 machine back in 16th position, and coming back down the pit lane, no, the Borla exhaust Toyota with damage, trying to get that car fixed up in a lucky dog spot. Jared Haggerty, though, getting the wave by. The Power Rangers Toyota is back onto the lead lap as well, along with Matt Quick, Ray Rittenauer the second, Ramon Evans, all getting the wave by now under the caution flag. So it remains as just Glenn Hedrick, Ryan Pyland, and Mark Jorgensen Jr. as the 3 drivers that have since retired from this race. They're going to come home 17th, 18th, and 19th, respectively. Still a whole lot, though, to be decided, and they'll have to do so in about 25 minutes or so. And you take a look at this race right now, restart going to be coming up maybe right on the money with 47 laps to go. It could be tight if these caution flags continue. We've seen the last 2-3 of them in a very tight marriage of about the last 15 laps or so, so quite a few back-to-back.
Yeah, definitely. And cautions breed cautions, as we always say here on LSRTV. We don't want to pick the right person, although, pick people this early because obviously we jinx them. But the last couple of weeks, you guys have been pretty good in the Super Speedway, picking the right people, not jinxing them. But,
You're welcome.
We definitely, thank you. Thanks. But, we're definitely, a lot of cautions right now. It seems like people on 2 tires, 0 tires, they're trying to push it a little bit more because the guys behind them have 4 tires, and unfortunately those no tires, 2 tires aren't being able to hold up as much as those brand new fresh Goodyears.
We will see the top 7 right now, still the same top 7 that started up on the track right now. The only exception, Shane McEachin, who is outside of the top 7 right now, actually in that 7th spot as the scoring updates through, started in 17th position. Stephanie Lessentine behind Tim, the only other driver that is not up at a spot in which she started. And DeMerchant, who leads, was your pole sitter. Clampett started on row 2, he's in 2nd. Peterson sat on the outside of the front row, he's 3rd. So through all of this strategy, typically at the middle of the race, you'll see a lot of guys who started up there outside of the top 15 up there in the front. It is still quite consistently the same group of drivers that we have been talking about, and I would presume we'll continue to talk about in the race for this checkered flag throughout the evening. We'll have to see, though, what happens on this go-at-it. It's Seth the Merchant, your race leader, Clampett and Peterson, second and third. Then you have Josh Hanner and company with 4 fresh Goodyear Wranglers. What can they do with them this time? The guys up front got 2 tires of green flag action, 2 laps on their tires for that matter. Let's see how they hold up. The pace car's gone, green flag flies, and back and away we go. Seth got to get clear to turn 1. Looks like he'll be able to do it. That's your race leader, 71, though Peterson wants to challenge for second. Look at Logan Clampett coming from behind on corner entry to make it side by side.
That great battle for the lead right now. It's going to be 3 wide, not quite. Peterson looking to the middle. It's going to only be 2 wide for that second spot. Here comes some momentum on the outside line, though, for Logan Clampett. A power move there on the outside. He's able to get up there and contend. He's going to pinch down the Merchant now to that bottom side. And again, have the momentum off of turn number 2. We got a new leader here at Iowa.
I wouldn't have been surprised if Seth was a little bit easy that time at a turn 1, because even I called it, Josh. I said, Seth's clear. He'll be the race leader. If you're clear on the bottom, you're good. But the 44, he just drove it in harder than him. And on the top side, it's hard to hold off that outside regardless. You make it a guy like Logan Clampett, who has been one of the fastest 3 trucks all night long. There's not a whole lot that Seth can do. Caution flag, though, just as Peterson overtakes him for second. It's trouble in the corner, and it's Jared Haggerty's number 57 Toyota. Turned around the wrong direction. This accident will come through turn number 2, and it'll be a single car accident. To bring the caution flag out, you'll see that 57 truck go around. Nobody else involved. It'll be slow things down again, this time at lap number 62.
Yeah, it looks like, unfortunately, Jared Haggerty's night is going backwards in good luck. He was up there in the top 2 at one point, and, after that, that's but hopefully he'll be able to get out there. I don't think he got too much or any damage on that, just self-spin. So hopefully he will be able to get some 4 fresh Goodyears and get back up there, see what he can bring to the end of the race. So still got about 40-some laps to go, so he should be able to get back up there if he's at Kemp.
It'll be the driver 6th on back with the exclusion of Stephanie Lesentine, who come down to the pit lane. Logan Clampett, though, your leader, passed halfway at the Iowa Speedway. We step away for just another moment and go LSRTV nonstop, bringing it back to the action for the RoddCar Truck Tour Iowa 150 on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing. We'll be back in a moment.
Trucking has always been a part of me. It started years ago when my dad and granddad were hauling vegetables to market in Liverpool. The family immigrated to Canada in the late 60s and settled near Alliston, Ontario. I bought my first truck in 1982 and Mercer Trucking was born. Today, Mercer Trucking has over 50 trucks and terminals in Toronto and Los Angeles. Our storage facilities at both terminals can handle any size of distribution needs throughout North America. We service the continental U.S., including Hawaii and Alaska. We run over 120,000 miles per month and some of the best equipment on the road today. We specialize in less than truckload shipments, show freight, we do rush team service deliveries, and haul your refrigerated or heated product. Our regular team service from Canada to California is second to none, and our staff and drivers are among the best in the business. I'm proud of our people and what they can achieve. Trucking is in my blood, it's my livelihood, and it's what I do best.
Once its sights are set, nothing can stop the ferocious lion from capturing its prey. Relying on keen senses, lions search patiently before striking with alarming speed. Wait for it. Gotcha, Mr. Piece of Rubbish. He is truly the master of his environment. Do good, be a lion.
Back live at the virtual Iowa Speedway. You're watching the RoddCar Truck Tour inaugural Season 1 Championship on LSRTV and as well on iRacing Live tonight. We welcome you back into the LSRTV booth. It's Evan Pizzoco, Andy Kessler, alongside our driver analyst Josh Ball and our executive producer Laura Lawson. Guys, we're working under the caution flag right now. Past halfway, the clock's starting to run thin. And the cautions, though, continuing to rack up. The lights go off for the pace car right here, Andy. So we will go back green to take lap number 69. However, a lot of them, I think the last 3-4, coming with no longer than a 3-lap green flag stretch in between them. That is really starting to drag this race out. And the time starting to become a bigger and bigger factor.
Yeah, it seems over the last few weeks we've been able to get a bunch of the races in. But being a timed event, we've had a few that have come close to not completing every lap, so something to obviously be mindful of. We get to, some of the bigger tracks have, there's more of a chance for more room, more different lines for these guys to run, so a lot less chance for some accidents is when we come to these shorter tracks.
The top 6 stay out. They're on 2-lap-old tires. 7th on back with 4 fresh tires and fuel. The pace car drops down out of the way. This time it's Clampett who wants to win the race down to turn 1. He lost at lap time, but it didn't matter because he went back high side, got the pass done for the race lead. Ken Peterson, though, challenged. The 71 got second just before the caution. Outside lane, is it going to be enough? He drag races down the back straightaway. Small advantage. 3 wide now with Seth the Merchant. Drops to the bottom on Clampett. However, that will only be for second as Christian Peterson goes back to the race lead.
Wow, it's the first time we're really seeing Peterson up there to the front. He's been struggling a loose condition all night. He's been down to the bottom, up to the truck, trying to figure out where that truck's work. Oh, Stephanie Lestine almost gets into Seth the Merchant there. Oh, loose off at the corner. Everybody's loose. Rodney Wofford behind her as well. We got a great battle going on for the lead right now.
Drove it in there hard, pushed up, and you saw the 7 Rodney Wofford tried to take advantage of her, dropped to the inside lane. That did not work. Now Rod Flag thinking about putting a move on the 7 in his own respect. That one, a fight for 6th spot down in turns number 1 and 2. In front of them, though, single file. It is not without action. Logan Clampett is plastered the back bumper of the 71 of Christian Peterson, and behind him, Seth the Merchant gets back into a top 3 spot. Josh Hanner's still there. Lessington, the only driver inside the top 5 right now that hasn't been in the top 3 all night long. She continues to hang around, but it's the 4 fastest trucks all night, still inside the top 4 right now. Question is, what does the 44 think he can do if he wants to set him up for a pass? The inside for 3rd goes Hanner, the slide job and the crossover, short tracking it at Iowa. Oh, they made contact! Seth the Merchant around to the bottom, up into the outside wall goes Josh Hanner. He collects Stephanie Lessington. Big crash on the front straightaway. Caution flag will now fly.
Wow.
And he went to do the move on the bottom, and it's something that we had talked about, Josh. Again, Clampett on the back bumper of Peterson. The bottom's wide open. Any week, that is where we want to go, but here... So it was Josh Hanner trying the move that it was Seth the Merchant doing all night long. Made it work, but Seth crosses him over and just gets too tight into the corner, too aggressive. Comes up, he takes out the number 24 as that 42 struggled to find grip. And this was a similar situation to what we saw just a couple of nights ago here on LSRTV. As in fact, last night with the Upstate Racing League, where 2 guys get together and they both go 2 directions and it causes 2 accidents because, Andy, we saw this, the 24, he goes up the hill, he takes out Stephanie Lessington, and then it's the Merchant who is spinning beneath him who comes back up the hill, takes out another 2-3 trucks as well.
Yeah, it's almost like they make contact and then just kind of split and go their own separate ways. Typically, when we see guys make contact, they both kind of similar spin in the same direction, but yeah, something that has to do with the track here in Iowa. It always seems to go that way. Whenever they make contact, they always split in different directions. It makes it real tough for the guys behind them to avoid anything. As we see all our leaders head down pit road, hasn't been long, but they're back again for some fresh tires.
And the 71 will lead them down. It looks like for the first time in a little while, everybody coming down pit road with the exception of one driver. This should kind of get guys back on track, Josh.
Yeah, and everybody's going to come in and get 4 fresh Goodyears. 24 got its quick fix. Probably the 42, I assume, as well, since he didn't have any really damage earlier in the race. And I got to go back to think to that caution right there. Was the 42 just not going to take it this time? You know, the 24 got into the back of him earlier in the race and just spun him out in turn 3. I don't know. Did you think maybe Seth the Merchant was like, not this time, Hanner. I'm not going to give you the spot. And I don't appreciate what he did to me earlier and kind of slid up into him.
But we definitely know that, again, as I said just before that, Andy, it is those 4 guys that I think, without a doubt, were the fastest 4 in this race. And a lot of the time, when you get 3/4 distance, the top 4 trucks in the race are still not running 1, 2, 3, 4. They were. That means that they had been racing with each other all night. Then, especially the 24 to 32, they had been crossing each other over. The people I feel worse for, the 43 is Stephanie Lesentine, who had no part of that. She gets collected on the outside. I saw a couple of other guys come through the bottom. It looked like Kent Connolly, Matt Quick, some of the other guys involved in an incident as well. 2 guys get into each other, they banana peel off 2 different directions, and it ends up taking about 5-6 trucks out of the race. Not all of them on the hook. It looks like Lesentine, the only driver that'll lose a lap in all of that, as she sits 1 lap down. That could be the night for the GoPro Toyota. Other than that, though, everybody else getting those things bondoed up and back out there, but still one little piece of contact and wrong spot at the wrong time for a lot of those guys.
Yeah, that's what usually happens, is the wrong place at the wrong time, and exactly what happened right there. And a bunch of trucks that probably didn't deserve to be there ended up being it. But that's what happens when you're racing hard and up front, and you're battling hard to get those all elusive spots and points, and trying to get that win, and getting a win in the truck tour, as we see, as most guys have gone back to back to back the last 6 weeks. So. The wins are hard to come by, so you definitely, when you got your opportunity to be up front and to put yourself in a position, you definitely don't want to see something like that happen. But unfortunately for a few of them, it did happen. But we got a couple interesting strategies up front. One guy we haven't talked about all night long, that one truck, and Chris Passini. 2 tires on that last stop, guys. Now he's back up to the 2nd position. But we've seen all night long what 2 tires or no tires have done to the guys with 4. So the only thing he can hope for is another quick little stint and another caution. Then he can get back on the same track with these other guys.
And just behind him is Clampett, so I think that makes that he's the only driver that came down, took 2 tires. We saw Ray Rittenauer stay out. The number 87 machine caught up in a couple of incidents so far here tonight. He's back onto the pit lane, gets that bonus point for leading a lap, completes some service. He'll come back out in time for the restart. Looks like he'll find himself in 14th or 15th position. Ramon Evans as well coming down the pit lane for a little bit of added pit stop services before this restart. Restart coming up, though, right now. The lights off at a base car. Peterson on the bottom. The one machine, 2 tires, but it wasn't enough to get him the race lead. Is it enough for the Pennzoil Chevrolet to do something with? Chris Passini starting in 19th, going up to 2nd as he runs right now. Quite the journey for the driver just behind him. Shane McKeechin in 4th, started this race back in 17th. Other than that, who's left for the big names? Peterson and Clampett, the 2 out of the 4 trucks that we've mentioned all night long. Inside on row 1, inside on row 2. They'll be 1st and 3rd for the restart. The pace car dives down to the way. The 71, they have to wait for the sim to throw the green flag. Into the restart box they go. Green flag flies, and back and away we go from Iowa. The good restart for Chris Passini. Is it enough, though, to keep that Chevy on the outside at 1 and 2? Not enough on entry in the 71. He tries to set sail. If that 44 Clampett can get clear out of 2, it'll do wonders for him. He won't be able to do so. It'll be an awkward entry into turn 3.
You know, all night, that 71's been actually pretty good on the bottom. He's been a little loose, but every restart I've seen him on, starting on the point, starting on the bottom. Oh, we got the 93 around in the back on the front stretch. Is he able to hold it together? Caution. No, he's all the way around. Caution on the speedway.
Oh, look out! Oh, that quickly got big. Cautioned out, and he spins it back up the hill, and 2-3 guys lock him up on the brakes trying to avoid it. The 87, one of them. The 89 of Matt Quick as well. It looks like the 088 of Kent Connolly spins around also. Small damage to the number 83 in that mix as well. So Ramon Evans gets a lick. And that's the 3rd time tonight, Andy. I talked about how they're driving it like it's a short track or a dirt track as far as how they're making these slide jobs. But a couple of these saves, pretty close. This one all stems back, though, to turn 4, and it highlights the incentive that these drivers have to get to the outside of the racetrack. Pileski tries to find a spot in line. He just wasn't there. And he comes up across the nose of Daniel Ferguson, gets hit, kind of took it right to left a couple of times and then spun it out in turn number 1.
Yeah, you definitely stemmed in one corner and went all the way to the other end, but we talk about that bottom line, the high side, which is the preferred line, and turns 1 and 3's kind of got a tricky radius, and I think the best way with the progressive banking is that high side. Of course, the bottom is so inviting, so easy, even in turns 1 and 2, you want to get down to that bottom line, that shorter distance to get around this place, but the problem is I think that the further down the track you get, the sharper the corner is, the more you have to put the wheel in it to turn, and I think that's what's really causing these guys to have some issues as far as getting loose and getting spun around here. And the spins aren't quick and fast; they're real lazy spins here at Iowa.
And all of those minor accidents, again, they really amplitude themselves once you get a couple of guys right behind there with nowhere to go. Things get ugly very quickly in this race. Currently working, though, at about the 55th minute of competition in this race. That leaves us with just about 10 minutes left on the clock. You take a look at the lap counter. There is still more than 25, actually to be right on, I believe, 25 laps to go this time by the start-finish line. Josh, as a driver, is it time to switch into timed mode and worry about track position?
Well, it seems like most of the people out there are pretty much going as much as they can right now. Everybody's got pretty much brand new tires. Seen a couple different strategies. Chris Bassini got himself up there with a little bit of pit strategy. Shane McKeechin back up to the front. So I think it's pretty much go time now. Like you said, we're about 10 minutes or so from the end of the race. So it's definitely go time. I did want to update one thing. I heard down from pit road Stephanie Lesentine actually did have a quick repair left, so she is back out on track and getting a couple waiver rounds as here in the RoddCar Truck Tour and an iSuper Speedway to get we do waiver rounds to let people back on the lead lap. As a misfortune for towing as it takes so long. But looks like she will be back here on the lead lap shortly, and she'll be good to go for the rest of the race.
The question now becomes, we continuously see these cautions, with a couple of green flag laps in between, whether it be 2, whether it be 5 to 10 laps, Andy. It's very easy in the middle portion of this race for us to say, okay, so we got a couple of guys come down pit road, they get tires, they show that they're fast, then the next caution, the other guys come down. Eventually, you have to be thinking, realistically. Every driver wants the race to go green. You want to see green flag racing, but you have to look at the scenario you're in, as we were talking about there as well with Josh, and the fact that you have to kind of guess when these cautions are going to come out. I don't think you want to stay out from here to the end, but the question is, when do you make that final pit stop? That could be very well a guessing game.
Yeah, you know what? A lot of that's going to come down to the clock too, more clock watching than lap watching. So it all depends on when we go green here, how much time's actually left on the clock, how many laps they get in on this next, stint, and it's just that's what it's going to come down to is a lot of clock watching, kind of playing out your options from that point. Do I come in and get tires with 4 minutes left on the clock, and hopefully we'll get. Those 4 minutes are only going to get you about 7 or 8 laps. So, and we got 20 and change to go here to the end of the race. So, it's going to do a lot to. I think you're going to see a lot of guys probably maybe force the issue and stay out just because the amount of time that's actually left in the race.
We'll do it once again. It'll be Logan Clampett, Christian Peterson, the 71. Josh, you say he's been strong all night on the bottom. All he has to do is get clear of the 44 of Clampett on that bottom by the time they hit the back straightaway, and he's in the driver's seat. Problem for him is if you want a guy on the outside that's been the best at it all night, you easily choose the 44 of Logan Clampett. So you got the best guy on the bottom and the best guy on the top side by side here.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with the 71. He showed his car is really good on the bottom. I think he's got the preferred line. He is the control car for this restart. So I'm going to go ahead and give it to the 71, at least for the start of this run. The 44 might be able to take it after, but let's start with him.
So we'll see, and they are right on each other's door as they go to the restart box. Green flag flies, and back and away we go at Iowa this restart with 22 laps to go. At a 44, trying to get down to the bottom. Peterson gets clear, though, on the yellow line. He'll slide up at a turn 2 as your race leader. Crossover, though, the 44 clamping
wrecking the 42 around on the backstretch. Oh, out of 2. A big crash. I don't know who got the lead there. Peterson was in front, but Clampett took it away. But that was a big crash on the backstretch.
Clampett went for the crossover, and Peterson is going to be scored as the race leader. The second or third time tonight that caution arguably saves somebody their lead position, and the car in this one is Seth the Merchant, the number 42, one of those guys that has been the fastest truck all night long, and that car just absolutely snapped on him, and it happened quickly, Andy. On the inside of the number 93, that's James Pileski up top. The 42 hasn't really been one of the loosest cars all night long. It gets a little bit sideways, though, over the bumps, and he overcorrects it, and this time that car just absolutely snaps, and he pile drives the left rear of the 93. He collects the number 25, and you got to get it on board with that number 43, I believe. Stephanie Lesentine somehow not involved in that accident, all the way to the inside retaining wall to avoid it.
Yeah, that was really close. That was a abrasive move she made to go way down to the bottom like that. I mean, unbelievable. Just the wherewithal to know that you have all that room down there. A lot of times drivers have that tunnel vision, and they see that yellow line or that white line, and they just think they can't go below it, you know, and she did a great job and just kept on going, knowing, hey, I got plenty of room with this wall down here, but great job avoiding that. Obviously, she already used her fast repair, and now she's finds herself in the top 10 here, so good recovery for that 43 truck.
And it's a love-hate relationship with this track. It's something that we talked about earlier on in the evening in this one. And, you know, a lot of guys don't like it. One of the drivers that is a fan of it is Stephanie Lesentine. We'll see if we can cue her up on the radio and catch a quick word. Stephanie, it's Evan, Andy, and Josh in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, tonight has been interesting as a total, and then as well for you. You've been up front battling with a lot of these guys inside of the top 5 in an accident to the back, and probably should have been in an accident there, but used every single inch of the backstretch to get through. A lot of guys loose, a lot of guys tight. The 43 still in this race. What's it like out there?
Well, Evan, it's crazy. We got some that don't know how to drive this track. This track is very simple to drive. I don't know what they've got under their trucks, but they definitely missed the ball on a lot of them.
So you find yourself right now in 9th spot. You started in 6th position, still inside of the top 10. This race is going to come down to time here. Not a whole lot of laps left. What can you do to maximize your finishing position here?
I'm going to push the gas pedal to the floor and just pray. Hopefully I don't see Elvis.
I'll tell you what, it sounds like a good plan to me. Stephanie, what we got you here? Anybody you want to throw a shout out to?
Just thank you guys for putting on a great show for the fans out there. You guys do a really good job each week.
You've been having a good run. We wish you the best of luck on this restart.
Thank you.
So we reset, guys, and with that, again, a 65-minute time limit. It has been now over 66 minutes since these drivers hit the grid. That gives us, what, maybe 2 minutes and 30 seconds left before this race comes to the end. If we get a caution flag off of the restart, then this race will end under the caution flag. But if we get 3-4 laps green, that should be enough for that time to run out, and these drivers are not going to have a 5 to go notice, Josh. It's going to be right to 2 to go, or maybe even right to the white flag, depending on when that time expires and where these guys are scored on track. So you just have to, as Stephanie said, just put the right foot down and hope for the best.
Yep, exactly. We talked about it if it was go time or not, like about 15 laps ago, and unfortunately, cautions breed cautions. We've been on a caution flag a lot since then. But it's time to go. Like you just said, we got about 2 minutes left on the time limit. Caution will end it at this point. So it's go time, as looks like we're going back 1 to go green here. Everybody's going to get lined up once Ramon Evans gets his final wave around. But it looks like, it's going to come down to this again. Christian Peterson on the bottom, best truck all night on the bottom, versus Logan Clampett on the top. Honestly, I'm sticking with Christian Peterson. He was able to pull off that restart. Let's see if he can get a little bit better and stay in the lead.
It hasn't been an ugly one, Andy, but these guys, they were right up on each other's door on the last one. They know very well that this is it.
Yeah, this is the last chance they have. Guys like Piscini made that bold move with 2 tires. He's up there in that 4th spot on the high side, so he's got a great chance. McEachin started way back in the field. He's got a good chance on this one, too. So, yeah, a lot of things riding on this restart.
For the final time tonight, the pace car gets down and out of the way. It's Christian Peterson as your race leader. Green flag flies, back and away we go at Iowa. It's a race to the checkered flag. Thinking about the bottom is Shane McEachin. He won't go for it. Clamp it, though. Keeps the nose on the outside. Can he get the job done? He'll pull him up side by side at a quarter number 2. And drag race in contact for the race lead at a turn 2. 44-71. They bounce off each other. It's Peterson to the white line. Clamp it, gonna cross him over at a 4. The drag race to the start.
Reckon.
Contact again.
Oh,
Clamp it. This race is over. Clampett has it at the start-finish line. And I think that means that he'll get the win. More contact between these guys after the race. Christian Peterson, by the sim at the moment, at the time of caution, is being scored as your race winner. However, Logan Clampett at the stripe, he should be the winner.
Oh, he should be. What an awesome race by those guys.
He's got it. There we go. It looks like the 44 is going to be told to pull in front of the number 71. And I think with that crossover, the 71, Josh, he knew he had to get in front of him. And I told you, if that 44 is there on the outside in turns 1 and 2, he's got a really good shot at it. They took 2 swings at each other, the crossover and all. And I think Logan Clampett comes through with this one. I don't know yet. We need to wait for official word.
Yeah, and that was crazy. That was great racing there. Taking a look at the replay, it looks at the time of caution, the 44 truck has the lead. We'll have to wait for race control to hear the official word. But it looks like at this point, the 44 should be your winner tonight over the 71. But that was a great battle.
They knew they were coming out of the time ending. I said they were on each other's door, but it hadn't gotten ugly yet to that point. That still wasn't ugly. It would have been ugly if they wrecked each other. That's everything you can ask out of a race to the finish.
Yeah, that was a fantastic race. I would have loved to see that go the next 10 laps like that. These guys were battling real hard. Great moves right there. Peterson just pushed up right in front of him. That gave the bottom side open, lots of momentum for that 44, and Clampett just hammered down off of turn number 4. Did a great job right there. That was a great battle off of turn number 2.
White flag in the air now at the Iowa Speedway. Logan Clampett comes to take this one through. Checkered flag now flies, and the win in the Iowa 150. The number 44 of Logan Clampett. Josh, into tonight, I said that these guys have not raced with him, but they know who he is. At least they have not raced with him on Friday nights before. The number 44 machine goes on to win this race head-to-head with some of the biggest names, and he'll burn it down and celebrate in a fashion that many of his competitors were for a lot of this one, and that's sideways.
Yep, and unfortunately, I think I jinxed Christian Peterson there a bit. But said he was going to be able to hold it down. Unfortunately, Logan Clampett, we talked about him at the beginning of the race, and all race, as a matter of fact, up there all night. He clearly was better on the top, and that's where the race was going to be won tonight. So great run by him. Great first run. You know, one race in, one win. That's how to do it.
And that means, statistically speaking, he needs to win next Friday night as well. He celebrates at the Iowa Speedway. Christian Peterson will have to settle with a second, and Shane McEachin passes 14 different trucks to come home and take away a podium finish tonight, who comes home in 3rd place at the end of this one. Race Control going to make an official review on the finish, so we step away as the 44 heads to the virtual Gatorade Victory Lane, for that matter. Post-race from Iowa. Coming up, you're watching the RoddCar Truck Tour Iowa 150 on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing. Back live at the virtual Iowa Speedway post-race for round number 9 on the 15-race inaugural championship with the RoddCar Truck Tour, and it is a new name to the list of winners in 2015. Logan Clampett takes on the checkered flag in the Iowa 150 in quite the thrilling fashion here tonight, where this one came down to a close on time, and it was Logan Clampett who just made the crossover on Christian Peterson before the caution flag came out that would end this race. He goes on to win ahead of Peterson, and Shane McEachin talking with us there under the break. He was just waiting for somebody to wreck Josh. You've caught it with him on pit road. They didn't, though. He'll have to settle with the third, but it was still a very strong run for the driver that comes home in third after starting way back in 17th.
Yeah, I'm down here with Shane McEachin, number 28 Haviland Toyota. Tell me how your night, or how your race went tonight. I definitely saw you miss a couple accidents there. Stay out on 2 tires, no tires. Definitely up and down for you tonight.
Yeah, we dodged a couple bullets. We also got caught up in one. I think without those 2 guys wrecking, we got as good as we were going to get tonight. We're kind of trying to play a chess match and let them take each other out and kind of have a repeat of Atlanta, but it didn't work out, but we're happy with third.
Well, yeah, great run for the Haviland Toyota tonight. We saw you out there battling. A lot of people were loose. Were you fighting the same problem, or was your more setup a little bit tighter, able to stay up on the top side?
We kept making adjustments trying to loosen up exit, but it was tight. We'd get in a good rhythm. The best rhythm we had was, early in the race, and then we kept getting cautions. So you'd try to stay on the, follow those guys into 1 and 2, the leaders, and they definitely had a looser setup than I did. I couldn't drive it in that hard, and it would just get tight, and we were kind of lucky to get a top 3. I think we had a top 5 truck, but with all the stuff going on, that definitely helped us.
That's good. Yeah, we're definitely coming away from one of the shorter tracks on the schedule at Iowa this week. Looking forward to next week. We're at Kansas, 83 laps there. How do you like that track? Is that one of your favorite tracks? What do you see for next week? Got a good setup yet? Or what does the 28 have in store for next week?
Probably about like this week. We'll be going in blind. We don't have a lot of time to put in the setups, and mainly it's a crunch. The race day and try to figure out something. This was I actually like this track, over a lot of the ones we've been to, but we'll see when we get there Friday.
Well, great job again tonight, Shane. You definitely drive the wheels off of it. You're one of the great drivers in the league, been around for a long time. So I can understand how you could just go out there with the setup and go right at it and be able to finish top 3. Any shout-outs, any sponsors you'd like to thank before we let you go?
I just want to thank you guys and thank Rod for, it's with the cautions and the racing, it gets kind of tough, but we still appreciate what he does and want to keep it going.
All right. Well, thank you, Shane. That's your driver, P3 tonight, Shane McEachin, and number 28 Haviland Toyota. I think Andy has caught up with our second place finisher, Christian Peterson, down on pit road.
That's right. I am down here with P Money Designs Chevy driver of Christian Peterson. Christian, it was quite a wild last lap there right there with Logan Clampett. Walk us through that one.
Yeah, the last 2, I think it was the last 2, maybe lap and a half. It was pretty crazy. We were in TeamSpeak together, so he was trying to get in my head, and I knew if he got a decent enough restart, he would have gotten me, on the outside, and he did. And then I shoved it into 3. Saw what happened. We ended up dooring down the front stretch, and then things just kind of got wild from there. But it was all in fun and clean battle, just hard racing for the win. We knew the time was running out, and we knew we had to get the lead because we expected a caution to come out again.
Yeah, we've seen that a few times this season where the cautions kind of breed other cautions. Guys really forcing the issue, trying to get every position they possibly can, knowing that the time's running out. We end up a little short on the laps. Do you think that overall, though, I think the racing's been phenomenal. The battles up front, the race, the wins for all you guys. You had a couple wins back to back a few weeks ago. Overall, I mean, this has been a great series, and we're closing in on the end of it.
Oh yeah, we're having a lot of fun with the RoddCar truck tour. I mean, Iowa's, you know, I think it's a great track and it's fun. You just got to learn, you know, how to race it, because you can really go all around. There is a preferred line, but you can move around and it works, you know, if you can get the other guy to mess up a little bit. So, I mean, this league's been a lot of fun. I'm looking forward. I think this is like our only short track that we go to, so maybe that's what's the problem. But either way, the other races have been a blast.
Well, they've definitely been fun to watch and fun to cover. You come up one spot short, but is there anybody you'd like to thank for this great finish here tonight?
Yeah, just got to thank Seth, Demergent for the set. Everybody at Six Man. I guess that's our new name. We kind of got a new name going for us. No logos on the car yet. P Money Designs. He does all the paint schemes. Preston Partis, you look him up on Trading Paints. He does awesome. He's been doing a bunch for the public, so it's pretty cool. And you guys and Rod too for putting the show together.
Well, thank you very much, and congratulations again. Second place finish here tonight at Iowa. A strong run, but I believe that Evan has caught up with our winner. Put the bold move on at 3 and 4 and comes out victorious.
They didn't exactly know when that last lap would come. The only thing we knew is that was going to be the final restart, and it's the crossover move in 3 and 4 to get the job done as the caution flag flies behind them. Logan Clampett goes on to win the Iowa 150 in the RoddCar Truck Tour. Caught it with him now down in the virtual Gatorade victory lane. Logan, first off, a big congratulations to you. Come in here on Friday night, and although it wasn't a dominating performance, you were one of those guys up there. We were talking about you, Peterson, a lot, as well as DeMerchant and a couple of other guys all up there fighting all night long. A couple of them dropped there backwards, and you seemed to be the best out of anybody on restarting in second. Peterson was one of the better guys, though, of winning that race down to turns 1 and 2 all night long. You guys went head-to-head, and you came out on top. Walk us through it.
Yeah, I mean, the race was mostly cautions, so I just tried. I knew the timer was going to run out, so the second to last restart, I tried crossing him over and getting the lead, but the caution came out, and I thought the race was over for sure, and he won. And then on that last restart, I just tried getting a really good jump on him on the outside, because I knew that was the line. And he tried to slide jump me, and I got around him, and saw them wrecking behind me, and I was just hoping the caution came out, and it did.
And that crossover was something that we saw Seth try a couple of times earlier on in the evening, try to make some moves, because really, as you said, with the outside being the preferred lane, it's hard to make a pass on somebody, because there were times where you were all over the back bumper of Peterson, who was leading the race at the times, but I mean, you could have put that truck to the inside, but really it wasn't the place to be. So we knew that crossover was going to be there as a last-ditched effort on a race to the end like that. You used it. You guys did it exactly as you needed to get the win. What was it like, though, out there on track trying to get around guys? I know you started third to come home the winner tonight, so you didn't fall all that far backwards, but there were a couple of times when you came down and got some tires that you had some traffic to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, some guys it was difficult passing, but some guys it wasn't. It was pretty easy getting into the top 5. Once you got into the top 5, it got a little difficult. But overall, it was a great race.
And to do it in your first start on a Friday night, again, we said that although these guys may not have raced with you on a Friday night, I'm sure that they've raced with you a couple of times elsewhere. What were you expecting out of this one?
I was expecting that Seth or CP was going to win, because Iowa's not a great track for me.
Well, those were the exact names that you found yourself fighting with, although you finished in front of them. You're the winner here at Iowa. Sponsors and shout-outs where we got you. Who do you want to thank for this one?
Ascourse, JDR Graphics, Dead Zone, and CP and Seth for helping me out. They do a lot of stuff. And we're going to be going to the iRacing Pro Series here in a bit. I think the first race is November 3rd, so I can't wait for that. I'm going to be working with Dead Zone Racing, Alan Bowes. We have a lot of pros over there, so it'll be fun.
And I will as well add that you could watch the Pro Series right here on LSRTV and iRacing Live on Tuesday nights as well. Logan, thanks for sticking around and chat with us. Again, a big congratulations to you, and best of luck. We'll see you next Friday night.
Yep, thank you.
And so with that, this one begins to run down to a close, guys. Logan Clampett, your winner. Christian Peterson and Shane McEachin come home 1, 2, and 3. And he had a realistic expectation. Josh, I'll turn to you first as a driver into this one. We'll see a lot of guys that come into a series as a rookie, and there was a big rookie class, I might add, for not only this RoddCar Truck Tour being in its first season, but as well a lot of guys new to the Cup side of things, which we'll see in just a couple of minutes here on LSRTV. But to come in mid-season with guys that you know in their home territory, kind of, and to win it, it's a pretty bold statement.
Yeah, definitely. And, it was crazy that he came in and was just able to win. A lot of guys out there racing hard. Seth the Merchant, Christian Peterson, those guys week in and week out. We just saw Seth win back-to-back. So definitely a big statement to come out there and win tonight. So I look forward to seeing him being able in the league and maybe going back-to-back just like we've seen the last couple weeks.
Andy, it was an exciting one. I said the exact same line to you last week, and I'll say it again. Another thrilling finish here in the RoddCar Truck Tour. All things considered, again, another one that comes down to this one on time, because Iowa I like to refer to as a bull ring. There's a lot shorter tracks on the sim, but when you're talking about a truck, they don't really go to many places smaller than this unless you start talking places like Martinsville. But it's a track that I said I love racing at. A lot of guys didn't like racing at. Logan Clampett, not a big fan of it, but he goes on to win this race. It had everything. It had the tire strategy. It had the time coming into effect, and It's been a while, but I like seeing two guys up front who bounce off each other 2-3 times on the white flag lap and can still give a congratulatory bump to each other at the end.
Yeah, and you're talking about two guys that, obviously they can bump into each other and not cause each other to wreck and just push each other to the limits. And that's exactly what we saw. Each one of them, pushing each other to be better. And, at the end, somebody's got to win this thing, and tonight it was Logan.
He does so, and he goes on to win at the Iowa Speedway, his first career start, and he's already got one in the back pocket. That does it for the RoddCar Truck Tour action tonight. If you're tuning in through iRacing Live, we encourage you to come to the LSRTV YouTube channel. Part 2 of our Friday night doubleheader coming up in just a little bit. The iSuper Speedway All-Star Race is this Friday night, and it comes up in just a few moments. You're not going to want to miss that one, where points and all that is out the window, and all they want is the All-Star Trophy, and every single driver's got a shot at it if they can make the field. That's something that we ever so know to be true at the plate tracks as they hit the Talladega High Banks this evening. Now, until next time, on behalf of LSRTV and the crew tonight, for myself, Evan Pasoko, Andy Kessler, our driver analyst, Josh Ball, and our executive producer, Laura Lawson, we thank you so much for tuning in. Another big congratulations to the driver of the number 44 JDR Graphics Chevrolet. It is Logan Clampett who wins at the Iowa Speedway. We step away. iSuper Speedway action coming up in just a few.